Alright, so today we're going to get into customizing our tag panel and our columns as well. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I like to make my tag panel just a little bit wider. That gives me a little bit more breadth or width on some of the full tag fields. Next, I'm going to move some things around, and I'm going to make some of these smaller and some of them larger. So I'm going to go File, Options. Here, once you go to tag panel, you'll be able to see all of the bits or tags or metadata that are going to be present in your tag panel. So for me, I want to move disk number up and the head of track number because it's currently down here. I want to put that up here. I'm also going to change this to just say disk, and I want the size of this to be smaller, so I'm going to do tiny, which is the smallest option. For the track number, I'm also going to make this one smaller, so I will go with tiny as well for that one, just because those two are usually 1 or 2 digits. I don't need them taking up a whole lot of space. My genre field is usually quite long, so I'm actually going to make mine a full size, and I'm also going to move it down. Actually, no, I'm going to leave that there. I lied. I do want to move my album artist up, so I'm going to move that above the album. My comments, I would like to be a bit bigger than they are, and so I'm going to make my comment a multi-line thing because my comments are usually a bit longer. So I'm actually going to go, we'll do 3 rows for this one, and we'll click OK on that. And the last thing that I really want to do is I just found out that my music player is supporting the occasion tag, which I'm going to use for playlist tagging. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new field, and that field is going to be occasion because that is the tag that we're using. If you wanted to look through this list and add any other tags, you definitely could. And for me, because I'm using the occasion tag for playlist, I'm going to name it playlist. My default value will be keep. This one doesn't have to be a full field. I could probably get by with using a large. And for me, just doing regular text type is fine. I actually have some custom values that I would like to use for this field. So I'm going to come down here to manage, and I can either hit new and type them in manually. I actually have them saved on a text file, which is just right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to import these and playlist values. I'll hit open, and now you can see that I've got all of these values in here. Again, I could have just hit new and typed all these in manually if I wanted to, but I wanted to import them just because I had them saved. I'll click OK. We'll click OK again, and we'll save that all up. And so now I've got my newly edited tag panel. Oh, wait a minute. I want disk to be before the track, and then the year is going to be after it. Yeah, I like that more. So now you'll see down here I have this playlist tag field here, and I can go to my drop down, and it has all those values that I had saved in there. So now I can just click on that and quickly get to any of these values and save that in my tags. If you ever wanted to add a new entry to this field, you can just type it in, and you can do shift and enter. So I'm going to hold down the shift key and then hit enter, and it's going to save this and add it to my list of possible tags. So you can always use that, and this is going to do it for me for now. I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm going to leave that alone. Now we'll get into what we can do over here on our columns. So obviously we can enlarge them or shrink them. You can even double click to get them to resize on their own just to fit the data that you have. One thing that I definitely think that I'm going to do is move this over here. So I'll click that and drag that. And I need this to be a little smaller just because these aren't large pieces of information. And one thing that I wish I would have thought about sooner was you can kind of see how these are not all completely together. They're kind of different albums are bunched up in different areas, but this is not the full album. To get these all in order, I would need to go and do something like disc number, sort by that, track number, sort by that, and then album, sort by that. And this kind of gets stuff together, as you can see a bit better. But the best way to do this, instead of having to click some combination of these three, is to edit how the album column actually sorts. So to do that, I'm going to right click on album. I'm going to go to customize columns, and here where it says sort by, I'm going to do my 2 % signs. I'll do album. This doesn't have to be all caps. I just typing it that way because I can. I'll do album, and then I'll do disc number. I spelled that correctly. And then I'm going to do track. So I want this to sort by the album first, then by disc numbers, and then by tracks. So I click OK, and now when I click on album, they're upside down now. When I click on this again, you'll notice that we have all of our albums together, starting with disc number 1 and going down to disc number 2 and 3, and then all of our track numbers are least to greatest. So now I can do 1 or 2 clicks. It's either going to be inverted or not inverted, and we're already sorted. I don't have to keep clicking through these 3 different things to get it to be together. Very nice. The other thing that you can do that I think is really cool is that you can use your columns to ask questions about your files. So your tag panel just shows you what tags you actually have. It just shows your metadata as it is, as it should. But your columns give you the ability to ask questions without even needing to fiddle with any of your tags at all. So I'll give you a really simple example. Let's say I wanted to ask which of my files happen to be missing the lyrics. So I could do that by right clicking. I'm going to go to customize columns. I will add a new column. We're going to call this one lyrics check. And the value that I'm going to put in here is going to be a question. So we're going to have to do some light scripting here. For this, I am going to whip out the notepad because I think it's mostly because the text is just a larger font. So we'll pop this open in here, and what we're essentially asking is, does our track have lyrics embedded? And so to do that, we're going to ask an if statement, and the if statement works as such. Give me 1 second here. So if X is true, then we're going to get Y, and if X is not true, we're instead going to get Z. Now all I'm going to do from here is replace each of these variables with actual pieces of information. So if X, the if that we're wanting to know is lyrics. So if lyrics exists. If it does exist, I want you to do nothing. So I'm actually going to delete Y, and I'm going to leave that gap between these 2 commas here, or I guess there's no space technically, but we're just leaving that there. And then I'm going to place in Z what I wanted to do when my lyrics are in fact missing. I want you to just print me the word missing, and I put that in these little single quotes. This is a good practice. Sometimes you have special characters and they need to be in the quotes, but I just always put everything in quotes so that nothing gets missed. I'm going to copy this, and now we'll head back over to MP3TAG, and in the value I'm going to paste that in. So what we're asking is, if the lyrics exist, give me nothing. If they don't exist, tell me that they're missing. Click OK. And now you can see that easily at a glance, without needing to click through each of these to look at them, I can tell you this file doesn't have lyrics up here, which is very nice. And obviously you can ask more complicated questions about the information. Maybe you want to know how many cover arts are embedded in whatever the case may be. This allows you to be able to scroll through easily and just kind of see what you might need to give some attention to. In this particular example, I could have also just changed the value here to be lyrics themselves, and just doing 2 % signs with the word lyrics in the middle, and then I would get this. However, personally, this feels a lot more overwhelming because I have all this extra information and I'm looking for the gaps. But some people might say it's easier to see the problem when I have this whole column is filled except for here. I like the other method better because then I don't have a bunch of stuff to look at all the time. It's just less in my face, but that is a personal preference. So this is how you can sort of edit your tag panel and edit your columns. The other thing that you can do is save your configuration. So let's say I like this layout here and I want to save this. I go to customize columns, you go to this utils here, and from there you can save this and you can pop back to it whenever you want to. You can swap between different panel configurations for different things that you might be doing with your music or your library. So that's always fun. And then obviously you can click on these and move them up or down, all that good stuff. And then if you uncheck them, they will no longer appear here. You can just recheck them again. The easiest way I found moving them is usually just dragging them, but that's because I'm not doing a whole lot of movement at once. So that'll be up to you. You can do the same with saving your tag panel over here. So you go to options, again with the utils button, and then you will save this configuration and then give it a name, hit save, and now you can flip back and forth between two different tag panels. I will say that if you add something like this where you have a custom set of values and I add a new value to this particular field in this configuration, that change does not go to your other configuration. They're completely separate from one another. So do keep track of that and just be mindful. Other than that, have fun.